Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive shift in the very foundation of global power dynamics. We're leaning into some deep analysis from political scientist Ian Bremmer to explore how the rules of international relations are being completely, and I mean completely, rewritten. We'll look at the breakdown of the old global order, the rise of some surprising new actors, and the looming challenges that could literally reshape human history. So let's just get right to it. Okay, let's dive into this by asking what is basically the ultimate question right now. Who is actually running the world today? Well, for decades, the answer to that seemed pretty obvious. But today, the traditional superpowers are behaving in highly unpredictable ways. It's creating a landscape that's far more volatile and uncertain than anything we've seen in recent history. The old rulebook hasn't just been revised, it's been thrown entirely out the window. So here's our roadmap for today. First up, the global leadership vacuum, followed by the geopolitical recession. Then we'll check out pivot states, and finally, we'll tackle the AI governance crisis. Section 1, the global leadership vacuum. Now, it's absolutely crucial to understand the distinction between having power on paper and actually being a capable global leader. Take the United States, for example. It remains the most powerful country overall, right? It has the global reserve currency, unmatched military reach, the whole shebang. However, its leaders are heavily constrained. They have to deal with courts, midterm elections, a deeply divided public, and really robust institutional checks and balances. On the flip side, you have China's leader, Xi Jinping, who Bremmer's analysis points out is currently the most powerful person in the world. Why? Because he essentially lacks those constraints. He has no term limits and exercises near absolute authority over the party, the military, and the state system. It's a fascinating contrast. Let's look at how we got here. During the Cold War, the world was divided very clearly between two superpowers. Then, in 1989, the Soviet Union collapses, leaving the United States as the sole superpower. They became the architect of global trade and the undisputed global sheriff. But look at where we are today. We've entered what Bremmer coined a G0 world. The US just doesn't want to be the global sheriff anymore. It's actively stepping back, becoming much more transactional, putting historic tariffs on allies, and basically asking other nations to handle their own backyard security. We've literally gone from a world led by 2 to 1 to 0. And this retreat isn't just about foreign policy. To put this into perspective, look at this staggering drop. Back in the 1950s, over 75% of Americans trusted their institutions. Today, that number has plummeted to less than 20%. Both global allies and domestic citizens have just lost faith in the traditional establishment. And this shocking drop in trust makes it incredibly difficult for the US to project any sort of consistent, long-term leadership abroad, which, you guessed it, just further accelerates this massive global vacuum. Which brings us right into Section 2, the geopolitical recession. So this is the core symptom of our power vacuum, a geopolitical recession. You know how the economy goes through boom and bust cycles? Well, we have geopolitical cycles too. A geopolitical recession happens when there is a fundamental misalignment between the institutions that govern the world, think like the UN Security Council, which is largely gridlocked right now, and the actual balance of power today. The architecture of the old world just doesn't fit the modern reality of rising nations and declining alliances anymore. It's like trying to run modern software on a computer from 1995. When the world gets caught in this type of recession, the source material notes there are essentially only 3 ways out. Step 1, you take the existing institutions and you strengthen them. Step 2, you build completely new institutions that actually reflect today's power dynamics. Or Step 3, you go to war. And what's really terrifying, yet clarifying, is that if you look around, we are currently seeing nations simultaneously pursuing all 3 of these steps across the globe right now. Okay, let's move to Section 3, pivot states and new powers. So who exactly is stepping up while the traditional superpowers step back? Let's break down how middle powers are strategically hedging their bets. Take India, a really prime example of a pivot state. With strong ties to the US, a stabilized border with China, and basically acting as the voice of the global south, India is uniquely bridging major global divides. Then look over at Europe. Reacting to the threat of Russia and an increasingly unpredictable US, Europe is suddenly forced to strengthen its own defense and enact sweeping economic reforms, like the Draghi Competitiveness Plan. Meanwhile, in West Asia, we're seeing a split into 2 very distinct security blocs. You've got the UAE acting as a highly globalized economic node, working closely with Western tech and defense. And then you have Saudi Arabia, asserting itself by leading a massive Islamic bloc. Everyone is diversifying to protect themselves in this new G0 world. But actually, scratch that. We can't just talk about countries anymore. We absolutely have to acknowledge the unprecedented rise of tech titans. Private individuals now wield geopolitical influence that rivals entire governments. For instance, when Elon Musk has a near monopoly control over the Starlink satellite network in a volatile conflict zone like Ukraine, he essentially holds the power to dictate military capabilities on the ground. That level of power, concentrated in the hands of unelected individuals, is a brand new feature of our global order. It's a real game changer. And that leads us to our final section, Part 4, the AI governance crisis. We have to fast forward to a crisis that transcends borders entirely, the ultimate wildcard, AI. It is developing at breakneck speed, completely outpacing traditional political cycles. We're talking about advanced models capable of identifying software vulnerabilities that could theoretically crash our entire digital economy. We mean banking, water, energy grids, all of it. We're looking at the potential for lethal autonomous weapons and bioweapons. And honestly, the most alarming part? This disruption doesn't just have to come from a superpower. It could be triggered by a single company or even a rogue individual tinkering with an open source model. And right now, this is all happening with absolute zero global governance. None. Think about how we handle global finance for a second. The global financial markets are protected by independent central banks, right? They act collectively to prevent worldwide economic meltdowns. Well, the argument is that we desperately need a similar, independent, technocratic model for AI. Just as we rely on financial experts to contain a massive market crash, we are going to need technology experts empowered to instantly contain an artificial intelligence crisis before it triggers a widespread digital or even physical global meltdown. To solve this, sci-fi author Kim Stanley Robinson proposed something called a Ministry of the Future. And let's be honest, traditional governments can barely pass a budget on time, let alone outpace an AI threat. We require a completely new global governance model. This body would be populated by vetted technology experts operating with the mandate and the tools to collectively and instantly identify and shut down existential AI threats to humanity. So as we wrap up this explainer, I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought. When, and I mean not if, but when, advanced AI fundamentally challenges humanity, what kind of global governance will 8 billion people rely on? The shifting world order we've mapped out today isn't just about which country is on top anymore. It's about whether our global structures can rapidly evolve to ensure our very survival in the unpredictable era to come. Thank you so much for diving into this incredibly complex geopolitical puzzle with us today. And as always, keep questioning the world around you.